Mike, done your smoke, good sir?
Yep.
Want to give us some updates on what you're working on?
Basically, it's been the power cells and working on the small Renegade. Got that working really well. And yeah, I'm getting really positive results. The batteries aren't dying. I think I ran it for 3 weeks straight, and I lost like a half a volt. So
that's really good.
Yep, super efficient system, that's for sure. I got to charge many batteries with that. Yeah, just right now, I've just been working on the power cell technology. So when you think you got it right, there's something else that pops up, and you go down another route.
Hey, that's exactly what building and inventing is. It's trial and error, real science.
Well, I've been at it for 2.5 years. Renegade, about 8 years plus. So it's not something that is perfected overnight, that's for sure.
Exactly. It requires several generations of development and testing and experimenting to get things right. And once you get the first model right, then you move on to improving for the second and so forth.
Yeah, I think with the power cells, I'm on generation 6. So, yeah, it's really come a long way. I've been trying to figure out, okay, what makes the cell last. So I pretty much figured that out. And now I've figured out what creates the voltage and how to enhance the voltage. So instead of having a cell that's, say, 1.7 volts, now I can achieve 2.6 volts steady. So I've been able to figure out how to increase the power factor by almost 2 times, right? Now is to get the current back. So that's the next stage, and I think I have an answer to that. So I'm going to have a hell of a lot of current to go with a half decent amount of voltage to go with it. So with those two combinations plus the other one, the longevity of the cell, I'm hoping to get 10 years, maybe even 20 years out of one cell. Continuous power. Yeah.
That's what we all need.
Yeah, well, I'm on generation 6, so it took a lot. Like, it's experimentation. Like 98% of it's all experimentation. Sometimes you have to let an experiment go for 3 months before you can make your assessment, at how much energy density I have, how long is it going to last before it craps out. And you have to go from there. It's a process of elimination of certain factors. Cell design is so critical. It is everything.
Oops, 100%, because that's where the energy is stored and the future of anything electronic device. Sorry, I just put up a video here of a demonstration that I was showing earlier, and what the black there is actually aluminum that's bubbling like crazy. Sorry, the red is triple copper coil, and the white bubbling is the light from the atomic hydrogen, as well as some of the monoatomic aluminum and copper that was being transformed in the reaction.
Right. One interesting thing I could add, Bernie, even pertains to your experiments. I've also learned too, all you need is a catalyst. And that catalyst will basically give the reaction you need. You don't need physical energy to actually make a hydrogen atom or particle move. So
Bang,
that would
bang on,
that
bang on.
because
That's exactly what. Sorry,
that's what
continue.
leads to that's what basically leads you into the quantum tunneling theory. Okay, so you realize if you say have like a cell, a battery cell, and you have a medium that it needs to travel through, if you give it the proper environment for the hydrogen to travel, it will do it under its own power. It doesn't need an exterior power source or energy source for it to travel. The hydrogen itself has it, and it will utilize its own power to move through a medium. So when I'm creating the cell, you have to create the proper conditions for it to travel from point A to point B without using a galvanic reaction. Okay. So the cells that I'm working on, they are alkaline, right? So the acidity level of the medium that I create has a pH about 7. Okay. Now, as soon as you get down into, say, 6 or 5.5 pH, you're getting acidic. So now you've now changed the quantum tunneling reaction into a galvanic reaction. That's an exterior source of energy that you're providing to that medium in order to make the electrons flow from point A to point B. I'm trying to stay in the alkaline where there is no galvanic action. Now, this also has great advantages. Guess what? Your sacrificial cathode doesn't deteriorate. That means the longevity of the cell now can go up exponentially higher. So, all these variables I've had to study intensively in order to make the cell to do what it does. The last thing you want to do is have a galvanic action. As soon as you have the galvanic action, you get oxidation. You'll have oxidation on your sacrificial cathode, and that's where the degradation of the battery starts. Okay, and say for instance, a lithium battery, its degradation might not actually be an oxidation, which there is oxidation that goes on, but the other thing that really degrades a lithium battery is heat. You're getting a thermo problem, and that's why you have these problems with cell phones blowing up because they're getting a thermo runaway happening inside the cell. So there's so many different variables, and one variable might cure another variable, but a side reaction off it could be detrimental to the cell, saying lifespan could be one issue, right? And you get that in a galvanic uh, uh, environment. So the key to my cell is it has to stay alkaline or a solid state or whatever you decide to go with, but it has to stay alkaline. What you have to do is create a median for the hydrogen uh, fields to travel through the median without an exterior source of power, whether it's galvanic or uh, um, galvanic.
Yeah.
So I'm trying. Go ahead.
Sorry. And you're exactly bang on, and that I've been doing the identical steps but in reverse order from where you were with developing the battery with the electrolysis aspects and the hydrogen production and what we're looking at right here, and specifically the catalyst because there is no electricity going into this aluminum foil that's around a copper coil, and then the
Right.
triple copper solenoid coil on the opposite side. There's only two pieces of copper wire connecting them to each other outside of the water that creates this differential. But the real catalyst that has this reaction going so insanely is that I reversed the anode, the sacrificial anode that had broken down past the oxidization, which the alchemist called the blue state, and then passed up until this red state that you see here, and why it's glowing red despite being submersed just in salt water, and why there's so much hydrogen being production and so much aluminum breaking down, is because of reversing the anode into the cathode, and it being in such a decay that that catalyst is now that it's sucking back as much oxygen atoms out of the water, creating the catalyst of the electrolysis reaction, and that one hydrogen atom then goes onto the aluminum. That's why you're seeing this black hydride forming on it. And then the oxygen atom goes in onto as an oxide, forming the shell with the copper hydroxide there, the copper, sorry, Cu, I think it's 3, or CuH3, I believe it is. And from that, you have the spare extra hydrogen, which is then this atomic hydrogen. And that's why it's so white and cloudy, is it's the tiny little sparkles that are happening in each little nano bubble. And the nano bubbles you can't even see moving. They're just what's like that foam fuzz that's clouding it. And then they're combining into bigger bubbles of probably H2 gas as it then bubbles out and getting so much out.
Any movement of hydrogen releases energy, right? So you're doing it within the elements, or alchemy. That's what alchemy is. You're using elements to make other elements react and give a side reaction, say a release of hydrogen. And the release of hydrogen, and even in batteries, the release of hydrogen releases an electrical charge. So there is an electrical charge being emitted from your coils. What you should try to do now is, if you have a sustained reaction going in your coils, try to figure out a way of tapping off that and see what kind of electrical charge you're actually getting off it. It could be in the millivolts, or it could be in the volts. We don't know until you actually do that experiment. So,
Absolutely. And I
so
might
like,
have private recordings and information that I've never released or talked about, but
yeah,
we will talk about it one day.
exactly. But anybody who's listening to, what we're saying is, that the second you release hydrogen from a sacrificial cathode, there is electrical charge that comes off that automatically. The release of the
Exactly.
hydrogen.
That's where why I said I did the inverse engineering, because my catalysts and reactions, the galvanic reaction aspect is being amplified. So it's like there is the cost of the sacrificial anode in these aspects, but then when combined with your technology and what you found, and I won't go into proprietary information of it, but where it prevents the galvanic breakdown while
Right.
also in combining with
Right.
sustaining this reaction,
Yeah.
there's the potential for a ridiculous amount of energy.
Yeah. Is you're creating the gateway. If you create the gateway in a non-corrosive a way, you can release that hydrogen from the sacrificial cathode or anode, depending on how you set up your cell, without the detrimental effects of corrosion, which it leads to the breakdown of a battery, right? Because 9 times out of 10, it's because of that breakdown. The oxidation takes over. You get the dendrite formations, and then you could get short outs, which will cause a runaway if you're using lithium, and you get fire. So that's when you get into the thermo issues. So it's every single element has a specific purpose in the cell to keep it running properly. If one fails, it's a chain reaction which would lead to thermal runaway, depending on what type of cell it is. Like lithium, you're going to get fire, right? So,
Yeah, and so actually the red state hydrogen compounds, when it's in the nano plasmid clusters of solids, whether it's with the copper, aluminum, iron, all of them I've harvested and dried out. And then when I rub it on any of those hydride compounds onto another metal, especially foil, it catches fire and combusts. It's quite wild, and I do have
yeah.
some images of it for my presentation at Tesla Tech.
Nice.
But I'm gonna tease it now. I have shown them in the past, but what episodes it's in is as good of guess yours as mine, so I won't try looking for it now. But
Yeah.
I am going to show another pretty crazy electrolysis. This is a silver on silver, 1 ounce silver coin versus 1 ounce silver bar. But I had added the base material is actually monoatomic bismuth in with this monoatomic silver, and just the galactic spirals and like just the different layers of the moving materials at the base, very interesting. And then we have this I believe iron steel lid with a coating on it or whatever, like insulating. Point being that look at the magnetism, and it being, when I keep moving it, being directly pulled back to the very center each time. And then you can see the clouds of the moving monoatomics and plasmids moving in specific directions, and it's charge differential that's keeping them both at their buoyant elevation as well as their horizontal motions.
And it was Bernie, sorry. I got to head out for the night.
Fair enough. Getting late.
Thanks for, yeah, it's after midnight here. But yeah, we'll meet up again next Friday. Everything should be back to normal, I hope. It's been a little rocky of a week, but
Well, appreciate you joining us. Hopefully you had fun with your family camping over the weekend, and prayers with your father's recovery.
well, I didn't go camping because my wife had some problems. So my daughter went camping. We had to stay home. So that's what happened.
Well, praying your whole family is okay and health to come.
Yeah. All right, guys. Thanks a lot.
Much love, brother. We'll see you next week, next Friday. League of Extraordinary Inventors, as always.
Yep. All right, guys.
Much love, Mike. And
okay.
Nathan, you still there? Or Nathan had his, I believe, headsets go out on him. Not sure if you're still there, brother, old man Bill. There you are. There he is. Maybe
you can hear me, Bernie?
Yep. Yeah. Can hear you loud and clear.
This thing, man.
Oh, can you hear me? No. Uh-oh. Nathan can't hear. Mike left. Maybe we'll shut her down early. Let's see. One more video to play. Can you hear now? Can you hear me now? Nathan. Nope.
Oh, there we go.
Oh, now you can hear me? Can you hear me?
Yeah.
Bear with us. Oh, yeah. We're back. Very good.
Sorry, man, my headset died and I went to get another one and it's not the same.
Understandable. Well, anything else you'd like to cover tonight or go over, or should we cut her short, or how you feeling? Can you hear me?
What are you doing there?
So this is a very interesting experiment. Originally, the sacrificial anode was bismuth, so the base was a bunch of monoatomic bismuth, and then now you're seeing, so it was silver cathode, bismuth anode that dissolved in, and then once the bismuth dissolved, then I switched over to an additional silver anode. So currently, it is a silver anode, silver cathode with 5 volts you see going in. It's about, I believe, 6 inches deep of water, and that you can see the different layers of the monoatomic bismuth and silver moving, separated by their charge differentials, and so their buoyancy or gravitational layering and the different exclusion zones between them, as well as then the horizontal motions of the particles on these different vertical layers of the water, of the exclusion zones. It's a great example of Gerald Pollack's work with easy water, exclusion zone water, and the charges. And then in the middle, I have the floating steel lid from a bottle, and demonstrating how I keep moving it and how the magnetic attraction goes to the very center of the experiment, or of the electrolysis.
See, that's very cool.
And like just the galaxy look of the clouds and the plasma, you can see that they're intersecting below each other. If I freeze it right here, so you have one group of clouds going this way, a higher plasmid cloud formation going this way, and then below it you have another layer stream of monoatomics going at a 90-degree intersection below it, and that they keep flowing in perfect symmetry without interrupting each other. So it's completely electromagnetic field driven motion, as opposed to what's the right convection current. It's not a convection current from heat movement. It is specifically electric charge potential driven motion and movement. And yeah, right, like liquid coil. Yeah, Bernian motion. There we go.
Dude, that's totally interesting.
Right, I recorded this. So this is like one of my first years, so like at least 10 years old since I did this experiment and recorded it. But when I saw it, I was like, what the heck is actually going on? So I did record several videos of it. Oh my god, my apologies, accidentally closed the folder I was trying to open the next one from. One moment. But there's like a 7-minute video that I have of it that is even more fascinating, and how it's.
Hey, Bernie, you can't hear my computer going off every few seconds, can you?
Negative. Nope.
Okay, good. This headset's driving me nuts.
All right. So one additional crazy observation that I made and recorded, because I was using a higher quality, faster shutter speed camera in this, you'll see. So the bar of silver here as the anode. So this is the sacrificial anode right here, but you'll see one big bubble of oxygen constantly forming off of it and shooting straight up, and then you'll see it shoot out of the water as a compressed spherical, not just dispersing as some gas. So pay specific attention to what comes up right through here as I hit the play. So right there, boop, and then it jumps up right there. It's very, very fast, but you'll see it over and over. And it's not a splash of water because there's no water then going down and hitting and rippling the water again. It's not a droplet. It's going straight up. You can catch it right there. I'm not sure if my if
looks like a bubble jumping.
Yeah, and it jumps out, and then there's a few frames where you're actually able to see it going straight up once it's out of the water and continuing shooting right up right here. I'm not sure if the video is playing fast enough for you to see it or able to see it.
Yeah, it jumps up and over.
Right? It just shoots straight up. So again, it's like, is that plasma state that is just like the ultimate anti-gravity or buoyancy density, because it's not diffusing with air, it's literally just repulsed straight out.
Look how fast those bubbles are going out from it, though.
Exactly. You're barely able to capture it because it happens so fast. So it's, I guarantee that's faster than the human eye probably could normally see, and it's only because it's captured in the high shutter speed or frame rate of it. And again, demonstrating that, moving it, and still you can see constantly the bubble shooting up. 99.99% silver, both of them. So a lot of very peculiar, unique, interesting effects recorded right there.
Yeah. Yeah, and the cap's not moving at all either.
No, right? Like it's literally, that's the center magnetic point that it keeps getting attracted back to. Captured in.
Yeah, it goes right back to it.
I can't get enough of this thing going up because it's like, what is actually going on with that? And has anyone else ever recorded or observed something like that? I think that's a world first, but I don't know.
So you're breaking down the other side of it, though, right?
That is the side that's breaking down. That's the sacrificial anode, and that's why every so often you'll see a little piece of white silver as it's breaking into the monoatomic or the nanoscale fall down like that. There's a couple times over here. Oh, and there we go. There was the drop of blood I put in that grew into about this is about a 1-inch chunk of like material flesh. And this is from the get-go that once I heard of the homunculus processes story scares the living shit out of me, because it's like you put your, whether it's like some snot, saliva, especially blood, like blood clot that's still partially live, into this solution, and they grow. It grows nonstop until you cut the electricity, and then it'll kind of stay alive, and then it'll start to degrade and decay. but as long as there's a little current going into it, it grows and grows and grows. And yes, this is the potentiality of how easy it actually is to clone biological material of yourself. Also, you can see these bubbles there. They aren't on the surface. They're captured about an inch down by a layer of the water to the right here. And then these ones, I believe, are like 3 inches down on the third layer below one level of this moving monoatomic silver bismuth solution. Here you can see the cathode, how much hydrogen's bubbling up off of it, and also the collection of the monoatomic silver around it from the sacrificial anode. And yeah, there's all sorts of wild stuff that happens in these reactions, and especially when you include genetic material within it. Again, look at right here as it goes up. And it's like, it's just going up. It's not going down. Out right there, you saw a piece of the metal come off the sacrificial anode there. Just dropped. And look at the movement of these clouds, right, going along. And they're above the other layers of clouds going in perpendicular directions. All sorts of massive anomalies, and essentially a galaxy in a jar.
Check out the light that you see, the reflection. As soon as that thing shoots off, man, you start to see it go right through a sine wave.
Yeah.
It like, boom, right through it.
Again, move floating lid cap and right back to the center. Position held.
That's so cool to look at.
Like, there's so much to watch. See the water move and the bubbles are like stuck below it. It's, oh man, I got to reproduce this one because something else. And it's completely the charge densities or charge differentials that keep the different layers of the water and the plasmids, metals and molecules, clouds in their formations and movements and buoyant positions, I guess. So there you saw one piece just fall down there off the sacrificial anode corner, and at the same right there. But then, like, that bubble shooting up, that thing, I just, it's such a wild anomaly. Because it's like, it's literally just repelled, like, as soon as it leaves the liquid. Potentially. I have watched this video for days. Pretty sure why things didn't work out with my XXX girlfriend from 10 years ago, but we'll not get into that. I was just saying I could watch that video for days, and I have in the past. But let's move on a little bit more to another couple of videos. I will share.
Hey, BurnEye, I'm going to take off. My headset is going to die.
Fair enough. All right. Well, then on that case,
I'm sorry about that. It's like,
no worries, man. I fully get it. Appreciate your time and your contribution. So we'll end with this last video right here, and this one solely showing. So there's just there. It's not connected to anything, and it is pressed between those two coins above the water. And so there's no electrical inputs. There's just the charge differential between two identical silver coins, except one coin I did a nano layering shell on, which started the breakdown, aka the catalyst of the reaction, and then you see this monoatomic silver cloud of silver coming off what established to be the anode in this galvanic reaction. And on the inside of the pure silver coin is where the hydrogen is being produced, and thus can't be seen in this video, but it is a self-sustaining, self-acting hydrogen battery reaction. And on that note, we will call her a wonderful day. Thank you, Nathan, for joining us. Thank you, Mike, for joining us. And check out Old Man Bill's channel. Check out Faraday Research. Check out mine. And we will be back again with the wonderful Nathan in the coming days, as there's lots more to do and discuss. Appreciate you. Last words? Can you hear me? Nod and smile.
Have a good night, guys.
You crazy mother. Yeah.
It's just BurnEye.
Hey, Bernie, just like last week, huh?
Weekend at Bernie's.